What if the life you've always dreamed of is already within your reach? In this audiobook, uncover the science behind how your thoughts create your reality. It's time to break free from limitations and unlock the true power of your mind. Are you ready to transform? Introduction. Have you ever felt like you're stuck in a cycle, unable to break free from the same challenges, frustrations, or failures? What if the key to changing your life lies not in external circumstances, but in the very thoughts you have every day? Imagine if you could unlock a secret power within yourself, a power that, once harnessed, could transform your reality. What if I told you that you have the ability to shape your life, your success, and even your future simply by changing the way you think? This isn't a theory or some feel-good mantra. It's a scientifically backed phenomenon that has been changing the lives of millions. The power of the mind is more than just an abstract concept. It's a tangible force that can radically reshape your life. From achieving your wildest goals to overcoming obstacles that once seemed insurmountable, the way you think determines what's possible for you. And the good news? You don't need to be born with extraordinary talents or some magical gift to tap into it. You simply need to understand how to use your mind to your advantage. In the next few moments, you'll embark on a journey that could change everything. But here's the catch. Most people never unlock their mind's full potential. Why? Because they aren't aware of the powerful tools they already possess. They've been taught to believe that their thoughts don't hold any real influence over their reality. But that's a lie. The truth is, your mind is the gateway to a future beyond anything you've imagined. You just need the right keys to unlock it. What to expect in this book? Get ready for a deep dive into the incredible, life-altering science behind how your thoughts create your reality. This book isn't just theory. It's a blueprint for transformation. You will learn how to harness the power of your mind to break through mental barriers that have held you back for years. Rewrite your personal narrative, replacing negative self-talk with empowering beliefs. Unlock hidden opportunities that are right in front of you, but have been blocked by your current mindset. Understand the psychological techniques that top performers and highly successful people use to stay on top. Transform challenges into stepping stones, making setbacks your biggest source of motivation and growth. Throughout this book, we'll walk through practical steps, real-life examples, and scientifically backed principles that will help you change the way you think, react, and live. The information you're about to consume is not just meant to inform you. It's designed to ignite change within you and challenge everything you've been conditioned to believe about your limitations. The power of the mind. An overview. You may have heard the phrase, mind over matter, but what does it truly mean? At its core, this concept reflects the astonishing power of the mind to shape our experiences, perceptions, and ultimately, our reality. Your thoughts are more than just fleeting moments. They are the blueprint from which your life is constructed. Every decision you make, every emotion you feel, and every action you take is first born in the mind. So, if you can learn to control and direct your thoughts, imagine the extraordinary possibilities that await you. Consider this. Everything around you, every object, every structure, and every situation you find yourself in was once just a thought. Someone, somewhere, had an idea, and they took action. Your world is a reflection of the thoughts you hold, and if you change your thoughts, you change your world. This is not mere wishful thinking or positive affirmations. It's backed by science. Research in fields like neuroscience, psychology, and quantum physics has shown us that our thoughts have the power to influence our reality in profound ways. Whether it's the famous placebo effect or the proven law of attraction, the mind is not just a passive observer of reality. It's an active creator. Science behind thought and reality. Let's explore this fascinating science for a moment. For years, scientists believed that the mind and body were separate entities. But modern research is revealing something far more profound. Your mind has the power to influence your body, your environment, and even the outcomes of events in your life. This isn't some new age pseudoscience. It's grounded in years of research and empirical evidence. Take, for example, the placebo effect. In clinical trials, people who are given sugar pills, believing they're receiving real medicine, often experience actual improvements in their health, even though no active drug was involved. Why? Because their belief in the treatment created a physiological response. The mind didn't just interpret the situation, it directly influenced the body's biology. This is just one of many examples showing that thoughts can have a tangible, real-world effect. Further studies in quantum physics reveal that our thoughts can affect the particles and energy fields that make up our universe. It's a mind-blowing discovery, suggesting that what we think could influence the fabric of reality itself. If this sounds impossible, it's because we've been conditioned to believe that our minds are powerless. But the truth is, the mind is an incredibly potent force, more powerful than we ever realized. How this book will transform your thinking. This book is more than just an exploration of the power of the mind. It's a manual for taking control of your destiny. You will learn to reprogram your subconscious beliefs, rewrite negative thought patterns, and cultivate a mindset that not only supports your goals, but propels you toward them. Think about your life for a moment. How much of it has been shaped by your current thoughts? How many of your beliefs have you inherited from others or adopted out of fear or self-doubt? If you're like most people, a good portion of your reality has been dictated by unconscious thoughts and outdated beliefs. This book will show you how to take conscious control of your thinking and create new neural pathways that lead to success, happiness, and fulfillment. You'll learn how to apply powerful psychological techniques that have been proven to help individuals, businesses, and entire nations overcome adversity and achieve the unthinkable. This book is your guide to tapping into your mind's deepest potential, helping you become not just a passive observer of your life, but an active participant in the creation of your future. As you turn the pages, you'll discover how to conquer limiting beliefs that have been sabotaging your success for years. Practical exercises that will train your mind to focus on solutions rather than problems. The exact steps to shift your mindset from fear and doubt to one of unwavering confidence and purpose. Powerful stories and case studies of people who have transformed their lives by mastering the art of mind over matter. By the end of this journey, you'll be equipped with everything you need to change not only how you think, but how you live. The truth is that your mind is already creating your reality. But are you consciously directing it, or is it running on autopilot? This book is your chance to take the wheel and create the life you've always wanted. Now, let's dive in. Your new life begins with this very first step. Are you ready to take control of your mind and shape your reality? Chapter 1. The Foundation of Thought. What if I told you that every success, every failure, every triumph, and every heartbreak in your life could be traced back to a single source, your thoughts? It's a bold statement, but let's face it, we are often oblivious to the profound influence of our own minds. You've heard the saying, you become what you think about most of the time. But have you ever stopped to consider just how much truth is embedded in those words? Most people don't. They go through life reacting, responding, and repeating the same patterns, never questioning the silent architect that has been shaping their reality from the beginning, their own thoughts. For most of us, the mind feels like a chaotic storm of ideas, worries, and memories. But what if I told you there is a structure beneath it all? A blueprint that dictates everything, your emotions, your actions, even the very opportunities that come your way. The problem is, most people never take control of this blueprint. They live as if they are passengers on a train, unaware that they've been the conductor all along. You don't have to be one of them. The truth is, thoughts are not just fleeting clouds in the sky of your mind. They are the very fabric from which your life is woven. Every breakthrough, every failure, every extraordinary moment you've ever had began as a single thought. And the best part? You are in control. The ability to shape your reality is, and always has been, in your hands. But before you can wield this power effectively, you need to understand how your thoughts work, where they come from, and, most importantly, how they can be consciously directed to create the life you truly desire. Let's start at the very beginning. The unseen power of thought. Close your eyes for a moment and try to recall the happiest moment of your life. Maybe it was the day you landed your dream job, the moment you held your child for the first time, or that unforgettable adventure to a place you always wanted to visit. Now, think about the worst moment you've ever experienced. The heartbreak, the loss, the disappointment that felt like it would crush you. Notice something? Even though those moments have long passed, your mind can bring them back with incredible clarity. You can almost feel the emotions, relive the sensations, even smell the air around you. But here's the shocking truth. Those experiences only exist in your thoughts now. Your mind has an astonishing ability to turn mere thoughts into something that feels real. This is not just philosophy, it's neuroscience. Studies have shown that your brain reacts to imagined experiences almost identically to real ones. When you visualize an event vividly, your brain fires the same neural pathways as if you were actually experiencing it. That's why top athletes use mental imagery before competitions, and why people can develop anxiety simply by imagining worst-case scenarios. Your thoughts shape your emotions, and your emotions drive your actions. In other words, your life is a reflection of what you allow your mind to dwell on. But here's the catch. Most people do not consciously choose their thoughts. They let their minds run wild, jumping from one worry to the next, one regret to another, without ever realizing that they have the power to steer this process. Instead of using their thoughts as a tool for success, they allow negative patterns, fears, and external influences to dictate their mindset and, ultimately, their reality. If you want to break free from this cycle, you first need to understand the mechanisms behind it. The conscious versus subconscious mind. Who's really in charge? Imagine your mind as a vast, untamed ocean. On the surface, you see the waves, the thoughts that pop in and out of your awareness throughout the day. This is your conscious mind, the part of your brain responsible for logic, reasoning, and decision-making. It's the part of you that actively processes information, like solving a math problem or choosing what to eat for dinner. But beneath the surface lies something far more powerful: the subconscious mind. This is the deep, hidden part of your brain that stores your beliefs, habits, emotions, and automatic responses. It's where childhood experiences, deeply ingrained fears, and long-held assumptions about life reside. Think of it as a massive supercomputer, running in the background, quietly influencing your behavior without you even realizing it. Here's where things get interesting. Your subconscious mind does not distinguish between reality and imagination. It accepts whatever thoughts you feed it, whether they are positive or negative, empowering or limiting. If you constantly tell yourself, "I'm not good enough," your subconscious mind will accept that as truth and shape your actions accordingly. On the flip side, if you repeatedly affirm, "I am capable and unstoppable," your subconscious mind will begin reinforcing that belief, leading you to act with greater confidence and resilience. This is why changing your thoughts is so powerful. When you rewire your subconscious mind with new, empowering beliefs, you automatically begin making decisions that align with those beliefs. You attract opportunities, take bolder actions, and develop habits that bring you closer to success. But if you allow negative, self-defeating thoughts to take root, they will become self-fulfilling prophecies, keeping you trapped in cycles of doubt, fear, and stagnation. So the question is, are you controlling your thoughts, or are they controlling you? How thoughts influence emotions and behavior. Have you ever noticed how a single thought can change your entire mood in an instant? Imagine you're having a great day, and suddenly you remember something embarrassing that happened years ago. Your stomach tightens, your heart rate increases, and you feel a wave of shame over something that isn't even happening now. That's the power of thought. It has the ability to shift your emotions and, by extension, your actions. Thoughts trigger emotions. Emotions influence behavior. Behavior creates results. If you constantly think about how unfair life is, you will feel frustrated, bitter, and powerless. Those emotions will drive you to act in ways that reinforce your belief, perhaps by procrastinating, avoiding challenges, or pushing people away. Conversely, if you train your mind to focus on possibilities and solutions, you will feel motivated and hopeful, leading you to take productive actions that bring real change. This is why mastering your thoughts is the single most important skill you can develop. It's not just about thinking positively. It's about training your mind to work for you instead of against you. The first step to thought mastery. If you take away one thing from this chapter, let it be this: awareness is the first step to transformation. Before you can change your thoughts, you must first observe them. For the next 24 hours, I challenge you to become an observer of your own mind. Pay attention to the thoughts that dominate your day. Are they empowering or limiting? Are they focused on problems or solutions? Are they moving you toward your goals or holding you back? This simple exercise alone will reveal just how much your thoughts shape your reality. And once you see it, you can start taking control. Because the truth is, you have always been in control. You just didn't know it until now. Chapter 2. The Power of Belief. What if I told you that the single greatest force determining your success or failure isn't your talent, intelligence, or even the opportunities you're given? It's your beliefs. The invisible scripts running through your mind, often unnoticed, dictate every aspect of your life. They control what you attempt, what you avoid, what you tolerate, and what you strive for. In short, your beliefs define the boundaries of your reality. But here's the real question: are those boundaries real, or have you unknowingly built them yourself? Most people never stop to question their beliefs. They live within a mental framework passed down by parents, teachers, society, and past experiences, never realizing that these beliefs are nothing more than thoughts they have accepted as truth. But beliefs are not truths. They are stories we tell ourselves, and like any story, they can be rewritten. If you feel stuck in any area of your life, the culprit is almost always a belief that is silently working against you. You don't need more motivation, more knowledge, or even more luck. You need to change the way you think about yourself and what is possible for you. This chapter is about uncovering those hidden beliefs, the ones that shape your self-worth, your confidence, and your vision for your future. It's about understanding how beliefs are formed, how they limit or empower us, and, most importantly, how to break free from the ones that no longer serve us. Because if you can shift your beliefs, you can shift your entire reality. And that, my friend, is where true transformation begins. The hidden architecture of beliefs. Where do they come from? Every belief you hold today was planted in your mind at some point. You weren't born believing you were not smart enough, or that money is hard to come by, or that love always ends in heartbreak. You learned those things. The question is, from where? Most of our foundational beliefs were formed in childhood. Between birth and around age 7, our brains are in a highly absorbent state, functioning primarily in the theta brainwave frequency. This means that during these formative years, we accept almost everything as truth, without questioning it. If your parents constantly worried about money, You may have unconsciously absorbed the belief that financial security is always out of reach. If a teacher dismissed your ideas in school, you might have unknowingly adopted the belief that your voice doesn't matter. Beyond childhood, beliefs are also shaped by experiences. Maybe you took a risk in your teenage years and failed publicly, leading you to conclude that failure is humiliating and should be avoided at all costs. Maybe a toxic relationship convinced you that you're not worthy of love. These experiences, repeated enough times, become woven into the fabric of your identity. And then, of course, there's society. The world constantly bombards us with messages about what is normal, what is possible, and what is realistic. Over time, without even realizing it, we internalize these messages. If no one in your family has ever built a successful business, you might unconsciously believe that entrepreneurship isn't for people like you. If you've always been surrounded by unhappy relationships, you might assume that deep, lasting love is a fantasy. The problem isn't that we hold beliefs, it's that we never question them. Most people live their entire lives trapped by the beliefs they formed as children, never stopping to ask, is this actually true? The difference between limiting and empowering beliefs. Beliefs at their core are neither good nor bad. They are simply mental programs that guide our actions. However, some beliefs empower us, while others limit us. The key to transformation is identifying which ones are holding us back and replacing them with beliefs that propel us forward. A limiting belief keeps you stuck in fear, self-doubt, and inaction. It whispers things like, "I'm not smart enough to succeed," "I'm too old," or "too young to start over." People like me don't get opportunities like that. "I don't deserve happiness." On the other hand, an empowering belief expands your possibilities and fuels your growth. It tells you, "I am capable of learning and growing. Opportunities are always available to me. I am worthy of love, success, and happiness. Every failure is a lesson that brings me closer to success." The difference between these two types of beliefs is monumental. One will keep you trapped in a life of mediocrity, while the other will push you toward greatness. And here's the thing, both are simply stories you tell yourself. The question is, which story will you choose to believe? The self-fulfilling prophecy. Why beliefs shape reality. Here's where things get truly fascinating. Beliefs don't just shape your mindset, they shape your reality. Psychologists call this the self-fulfilling prophecy. When you believe something to be true, you unconsciously act in ways that make it a reality. For example, if you believe you're not good at public speaking, you will avoid opportunities to speak. When you do have to speak, you'll feel nervous and underprepared, reinforcing the idea that you're bad at it. Over time, this belief becomes your reality, not because it was inherently true, but because your actions made it so. On the flip side, if you believe you are a capable and confident speaker, you'll seek out opportunities to improve. You'll approach public speaking with more ease, and as a result, you'll actually become a great speaker. This principle applies to every area of life. If you believe money is scarce, you will unconsciously sabotage financial opportunities. If you believe you are unlucky in love, you will act in ways that push potential partners away. If you believe success is within your reach, you will take the necessary steps to achieve it. Your beliefs act as a filter for your perception of the world. You will always find evidence to support what you already believe. If you expect the world to be against you, you will notice every rejection, every struggle, every sign that confirms that belief. But if you expect the world to be full of opportunities, you will begin seeing them everywhere. The good news? Since beliefs are learned, they can be unlearned. You are not bound by the stories you were told as a child, nor are you limited by the experiences of your past. You have the power to change the way you see yourself in the world. And when you do, everything changes. The first step to changing your beliefs. If you take away one lesson from this chapter, let it be this. Your beliefs are not facts. They are choices. The first step to rewriting your beliefs is awareness. Start paying attention to the thoughts you repeat to yourself daily. What do you tell yourself about success? About relationships? About your own worth? Write them down. Once you see them on paper, you'll realize that many of them are not truths. They are just old programs running on autopilot. Chapter 3. Rewiring your mind for success. Imagine you wake up tomorrow and something feels different. You no longer hesitate before speaking your mind. You don't second-guess your abilities. You move through life with a quiet, unshakable confidence. Challenges arise, but they don't paralyze you. Setbacks happen, but they don't define you. You feel free, energized, and in control. Sounds like a dream, doesn't it? But what if I told you this version of yourself is not just possible? It's already within you. The only thing standing in the way is the mental wiring you've unknowingly built over the years. You see, most people go through life carrying mental programs they never chose. Their fears, doubts, and insecurities aren't theirs. They were planted there by experiences, people, and past conditioning. And the worst part? These subconscious programs control nearly 95% of our daily decisions. That's right. While you may feel like you're making conscious choices, the vast majority of your actions, reactions, and habits are dictated by mental patterns buried deep in your subconscious mind. It's why you may struggle with the same fears, fall into the same unhealthy relationships, or sabotage yourself whenever success is within reach. It's not because you're lazy, weak, or incapable. It's because your subconscious mind is running an outdated program. But here's the good news. Just as a computer can be reprogrammed, so can your mind. The process of rewiring your brain, often called neuroplasticity, is one of the most powerful discoveries in modern psychology. It proves that you are not stuck with the mind you have today. You can literally reshape the way you think, behave, and respond to life. And in this chapter, I'll show you exactly how to do it. How your brain becomes wired for success or struggle. Your brain is like a forest, filled with countless pathways. Every time you think a thought, a pathway is formed. The more you repeat a thought, the stronger and more well-trodden that pathway becomes. This is why habits, both good and bad, are so hard to break. The neural pathways that support them have become deeply ingrained over time. Let's say you've spent years doubting yourself. Every time you think, "I'm not good enough," a neural pathway strengthens. Over time, this thought becomes automatic, no longer requiring conscious effort. It's like a trail in the woods that has been walked on so often that it becomes the default path. Now, anytime you face a challenge, your brain instinctively follows that pathway, straight to self-doubt. But what happens when you consciously choose a new thought? At first, it feels unnatural, like walking through thick brush instead of a clear path. But if you continue to reinforce this new belief, "I am capable, I am worthy," your brain begins forming a new pathway. Over time, this new thought becomes your default, while the old pathway weakens from lack of use. This is the essence of mental rewiring. The more intentional you become about choosing empowering thoughts, the more your brain reshapes itself to support confidence, success, and resilience. The subconscious mind, your greatest ally or worst enemy. Here's something most people don't realize. Your subconscious mind does not care whether your beliefs are true or false, helpful or harmful. It only cares about what is familiar. If you've spent years telling yourself that you're unworthy, your subconscious mind will continue reinforcing that belief, not because it's true, but because it's what you fed it repeatedly. It seeks consistency, not truth. This is why affirmations, visualization, and other mental programming techniques work. They don't magically manifest success overnight, but they reprogram your subconscious by making new, empowering beliefs more familiar than the old, limiting ones. Think of it this way. If you were raised in a house where negativity was the norm, positivity will feel unnatural at first. But that's not because it's wrong. It's simply because your mind is wired for a different experience. The moment you start intentionally rewiring your mind, you will feel resistance. Your subconscious will try to pull you back to the old patterns, not because they are better, but because they are what it knows. But here's the breakthrough. If you persist, your subconscious will eventually accept this new version of you as its reality. And once that happens, everything changes. The science of mental reprogramming, how to reshape your mind. Now that you understand how your brain forms habits and beliefs, let's talk about how to consciously rewire it. There are 3 primary ways to reprogram your subconscious mind. 1. Repetition, the power of daily mental conditioning. Just as physical exercise strengthens muscles, mental repetition strengthens beliefs. Your subconscious learns through repetition, so the key to changing your mindset is to feed it the right thoughts consistently. For example, if you've spent years believing, "I'll never be successful," you won't undo that belief with one motivational speech. But if every single day you reinforce a new belief, "Success is possible for me. I am capable. I am worthy," your brain will start accepting it as truth. A practical way to do this is through affirmations, but not the generic, robotic kind. Your affirmations should feel real to you. Instead of saying, "I am rich and successful," which your mind may resist, say, "I am learning how to create financial success every day." Your subconscious will accept a belief that feels attainable. 2. Emotion, the secret ingredient to lasting change. Repetition alone isn't enough. If it were, we could all just write down our goals and magically transform our lives. The missing piece is emotion. Your subconscious is deeply influenced by emotions. Think about it. Your strongest memories are tied to powerful emotions, whether joy, fear, love, or pain. This is why simply saying an affirmation without feeling it doesn't work. To truly rewire your mind, you must attach strong emotions to your new beliefs. When you say, "I am worthy of success," feel it. Imagine a moment when you felt confident and accomplished. Let that emotion flood your body. This emotional reinforcement tells your subconscious, "This is important. Pay attention." 3. Visualization, training your mind like an elite athlete. Visualization is one of the most powerful tools for mental rewiring. Studies have shown that when athletes mentally rehearse their performances, their brains activate the same neural pathways as if they were physically practicing. The same principle applies to success. Every day, take a few minutes to close your eyes and visualize the future you want. Picture yourself speaking confidently, thriving in your career, waking up in a life you love. Make it as vivid as possible. Hear the sounds, feel the emotions, immerse yourself in the experience. Over time, your brain will begin treating this visualization as a real memory, making it easier to align your actions with that reality. Your first step toward mental rewiring. If you only take away one lesson from this chapter, let it be this: your thoughts are not facts, they are choices. You don't have to accept the limiting beliefs that were given to you. You don't have to stay stuck in patterns that no longer serve you. You have the power to reshape your mind, and by doing so, you reshape your future. For the next 7 days, I challenge you to do 3 things. 1. Identify a limiting belief that has been holding you back. 2. Replace it with an empowering belief that aligns with the life you want. 3. Reinforce it daily through repetition, emotion, and visualization. The results will shock you. Chapter 4. The Art of Mastering Your Inner Dialogue. Pause for a moment and listen to yourself. Not the external noise of the world, not the voices of others, but that constant stream of thoughts running through your mind. What is it saying? Is it encouraging or critical? Does it push you forward or hold you back? If you truly listen, you might be surprised to realize that your inner dialogue, the voice inside your head, is the most powerful force shaping your reality. Most people go through life completely unaware of how they speak to themselves. They assume their thoughts are automatic, out of their control, and simply a reflection of reality. But here's the truth. Your inner dialogue is not a reaction to life. It's the architect of it. The way you talk to yourself determines how you feel, how you act, and ultimately, what you achieve. If your internal voice constantly tells you that you're not good enough, that success is out of reach, or that you're bound to fail, you will live out those expectations. Not because they are true, but because your mind will shape your actions to align with them. But here's the good news. Just as you can change the way you speak to others, you can also change the way you speak to yourself. You can train your inner voice to become your greatest ally instead of your worst enemy. And when you do, you unlock a level of confidence, clarity, and power that will transform every aspect of your life. In this chapter, we will explore the science of self-talk, uncover the most common destructive thought patterns, and, most importantly, learn how to shift your inner dialogue in a way that fuels your success rather than sabotages it. Because when you master the way you talk to yourself, you master your entire life. Why your inner dialogue matters more than you think. Your thoughts are not just passive mental chatter. They are commands to your subconscious mind. Every time you say something to yourself, your brain listens and accepts it as truth. If you constantly tell yourself, "I can't do this," your brain will take that as an instruction and look for ways to prove you right. Your body will respond with hesitation, your energy will drop, and your motivation will disappear. On the other hand, if you tell yourself, "I am capable and I always find a way," your brain will begin searching for solutions, your energy will rise, and you will act with more confidence. Studies in neuroscience show that our brains do not distinguish between reality and what we repeatedly tell ourselves. This is why athletes, CEOs, and high achievers use positive mental conditioning. They understand that their inner dialogue directly impacts their performance. A study published in the Journal of Sport and Exercise Psychology found that athletes who used positive self-talk performed significantly better than those who used neutral or negative self-talk. Their bodies responded to their words as if they were instructions, optimizing performance based on their mindset. Now, think about what this means for your daily life. If your inner voice is filled with self-doubt, fear, and negativity, your brain will follow suit. You will unconsciously sabotage opportunities, shrink back from challenges, and reinforce the belief that you are not enough. But if you consciously train your mind to support you rather than tear you down, your actions will begin to reflect that inner confidence, and your life will shift in ways you never thought possible. The most common negative thought patterns and how to break them. Before we dive into how to rewire your self-talk, it's crucial to recognize the destructive thought patterns that may be silently running your life. These mental habits are often so ingrained that you may not even realize you're engaging in them. But once you become aware of them, you can take control. 1. The inner critic. I'm not good enough. This is one of the most common and damaging thought patterns. It shows up as harsh self-judgment, unrealistic expectations, and an inability to recognize your own progress. The inner critic magnifies your mistakes, downplays your achievements, and constantly tells you that you're falling short. How to break it? Start speaking to yourself the way you would speak to a close friend. Would you tell your best friend they are worthless because they made a mistake? Of course not. Instead, you would encourage them, remind them of their strengths, and help them see the bigger picture. Treat yourself with the same kindness. Whenever you catch yourself engaging in self-criticism, pause and reframe the thought. I am doing my best, and I am learning every day. 2. Catastrophizing. everything is going wrong. This pattern involves blowing things out of proportion and assuming the worst-case scenario. A minor setback suddenly becomes a sign that your entire future is doomed. This kind of thinking triggers anxiety and prevents you from taking action. How to break it? Challenge the thought with logic. Ask yourself, is this really the worst thing that could happen? Have I overcome difficult situations before? Most of the time, the worst-case scenario is unlikely, and even if it did happen, you would find a way to handle it. Instead of saying, "This is a disaster," shift your self-talk to, "This is a challenge, and I am capable of finding a solution." 3. The should trap. I should be further ahead. This pattern creates a constant feeling of dissatisfaction and failure. You tell yourself that you should have achieved more by now, that you should be smarter, richer, more successful. While ambition is great, this kind of self-talk only fuels guilt and self-doubt. How to break it? Shift from should to could. Instead of saying, "I should be doing more," try, "I could take steps toward my goals, and I am choosing to focus on progress rather than perfection." This small shift removes guilt and replaces it with empowerment. 4. Labeling yourself. I'm just not that kind of person. Many people limit themselves by attaching rigid labels to their identity. I'm just not a confident person. I've never been good with money. I'm not the type to take risks. These statements create mental walls that keep you stuck in old patterns. How to break it? Instead of defining yourself in fixed terms, use growth-oriented language. Instead of "I'm not a confident person," say, "I am learning to become more confident every day." Instead of "I'm not good at business," say, "I am developing the skills to succeed." This small shift opens the door to change. The power of intentional self-talk, reprogramming your mind for success. Now that you're aware of the negative thought patterns that may be shaping your life, the next step is to intentionally rewire your self-talk. Here's how. 1. Become aware. Start paying attention to your inner dialogue. Notice the words and phrases you use most often. 2. Interrupt negative thoughts. When you catch yourself engaging in destructive self-talk, pause and question it. Is this thought helpful? Is it based on facts or fear? 3. Replace it with a powerful alternative. Instead of letting your inner critic take control, consciously choose a more empowering thought. Instead of "I can't do this," say, "I am capable and I am growing every day." 4. Reinforce the new belief daily. Use repetition, emotion, and visualization to strengthen your new self-talk patterns. The more you practice, the more natural it will become. Over time, your brain will default to positive, empowering inner dialogue, and when that happens, everything in your life will shift. Your first step toward mastering self-talk. For the next 7 days, commit to observing and rewriting your inner dialogue. Whenever you catch yourself thinking something negative, stop, question it, and replace it with a thought that serves you. It may feel unnatural at first, but with time, this practice will become second nature. Chapter 5. The Power of Emotional Mastery. Have you ever found yourself overwhelmed by an emotion so powerful that it dictated your actions before you even had a chance to think? Maybe anger caused you to say something you later regretted, or anxiety stopped you from taking an opportunity you knew could change your life. Perhaps sadness weighed you down so heavily that you couldn't see a way forward. If any of this sounds familiar, you're not alone. Most people believe that emotions are something that happened to them, an unstoppable force beyond their control. But what if I told you that wasn't true? What if you could master your emotions instead of letting them master you? Emotions are not random. They don't just appear out of nowhere. They are the result of patterns of thought, conditioned responses, and subconscious beliefs. And here's the truth. your emotions are shaping your life more than any external factor ever could. They influence your decisions, determine the quality of your relationships, and even impact your physical health. If you constantly feel fear, self-doubt, or frustration, it will hold you back from becoming the person you are meant to be. But if you learn how to channel your emotions effectively, you unlock a version of yourself that is strong, resilient, and unstoppable. This chapter is about reclaiming control. It's about understanding the science behind emotions, recognizing your patterns, and learning how to transform even the most overwhelming feelings into fuel for growth. Because the reality is this: emotional mastery is not about suppressing your emotions. It's about understanding, directing, and using them to your advantage. And once you learn how to do that, nothing in life will ever feel out of your control again. The science behind your emotions. To master something, you first have to understand it. So let's break down what emotions actually are. At their core, emotions are chemical and neurological responses triggered by your brain. When something happens, a situation, a thought, a memory, your brain interprets it and releases specific chemicals, neurotransmitters and hormones, that create the feeling of happiness, sadness, anger, fear, or excitement. For example, when you experience fear, your brain releases cortisol and adrenaline, preparing your body to either fight or flee. When you feel joy, dopamine and serotonin flood your system, making you feel energized and at peace. These emotions aren't random. They are deeply wired into your survival mechanisms. But in the modern world, where threats are often psychological rather than physical, our emotional responses can sometimes work against us. Think about anxiety. It evolved to protect us from danger. If a lion was nearby, feeling fear would make us run, increasing our chances of survival. But today, that same fight or flight response is triggered by emails, deadlines, social interactions, and self-doubt. The lion has been replaced by a job interview, an awkward conversation, or the fear of failure. Your brain reacts the same way, releasing stress hormones and making you feel paralyzed, even though the threat isn't life-threatening. This is why emotional mastery is critical. If you don't take control, your emotions will react to everything around you, dictating your mood, your actions, and your entire life. But once you learn how to understand and redirect your emotions, you shift from being a reactor to a creator of your own emotional state. The hidden patterns. Controlling your emotions. Emotions don't just come from external events. They come from your interpretations of those events. That's why two people can experience the same situation, but feel completely different emotions about it. Imagine two people lose their jobs. One sees it as a personal failure and falls into despair, believing they are worthless. The other sees it as an opportunity to grow, pivot, and build something even better. The situation is the same, but their interpretation is different. And that interpretation is what creates their emotional response. This is the first step to emotional mastery. Realizing that you are not reacting to reality. You are reacting to your perception of reality. And where do those perceptions come from? They are shaped by your past experiences, beliefs, and conditioned thought patterns. For example, if you grew up being told that making mistakes is unacceptable, you might feel crippling anxiety every time you face failure. If you were constantly criticized, you might interpret neutral feedback as an attack, triggering anger or defensiveness. If you were raised in an environment where love was conditional, you might feel unworthy every time someone pulls away, even if it has nothing to do with you. These emotional responses are not facts. They are learned patterns. And just as they were learned, they can be unlearned. Step 1. Identifying your emotional triggers. Before you can change your emotional reactions, you need to understand what triggers them. Most people don't realize that their strongest emotions are tied to specific patterns and recurring situations. If you've ever felt like you always get upset in certain situations, it's because your brain has developed automatic emotional triggers. To identify your triggers, ask yourself, when do I feel the most overwhelmed? What situations or people tend to trigger strong emotions in me? What is the story I tell myself when I feel this way? For example, if you notice that criticism always makes you angry, the real trigger might not be the criticism itself, but the underlying belief that you are not good enough. If you find yourself constantly feeling jealous in relationships, the trigger might not be your partner's actions, but your own fear of abandonment based on past experiences. By recognizing your triggers, you begin to break free from unconscious emotional reactions. Step 2. Changing your emotional response in the moment. Once you've identified your emotional triggers, the next step is learning how to control your response instead of letting your emotions control you. Here's a simple but powerful technique. 1. Pause and name the emotion. When you feel a strong emotion, stop and identify it. Instead of saying, "I'm just upset," say, "I feel frustrated because I feel unheard." Naming the emotion gives you power over it. Second question. The thought behind it. Ask yourself, is this emotion based on facts or assumptions? Am I reacting to reality or my interpretation of reality? 3. Shift your focus. Your emotions follow your focus. If you focus on what's wrong, you'll feel worse. Instead, shift to an empowering perspective. What can I learn from this? How can I use this situation for growth? 4. Change your physiology. Your body affects your emotions. When you're sad, you slump. When you're confident, you stand tall. If you change your posture, breathe deeply, and move your body, you can shift your emotional state almost instantly. Your first step toward emotional mastery. For the next week, commit to this practice. Every time you feel a strong emotion, pause, name it, question it, and shift your focus. It will feel unnatural at first, but over time, this process will become automatic. Emotional mastery is not about suppressing your feelings. It's about understanding them, directing them, and using them to create the life you want. When you learn how to harness your emotions, you will no longer feel like a victim of circumstances. Instead, you will become the creator of your reality. Chapter 6. The Subconscious Mind, Unlocking the Hidden Power Within. If you had the power to change your entire life by flipping a switch in your mind, would you do it? What if I told you that such a switch already exists, but it's hidden in plain sight, operating in the background of your thoughts, decisions, and beliefs every single day? This is the power of your subconscious mind, the silent architect that shapes your reality, whether you realize it or not. Most people live their lives believing they are in control of their choices, but in reality, 95% of your thoughts, actions, and behaviors are controlled by your subconscious mind. That means only 5% of your daily actions are consciously decided by you. Think about that for a second. The way you react to challenges, the way you handle money, your level of confidence, your fears, your self-doubt. Most of these are not conscious choices, but deeply ingrained programs running on autopilot. The subconscious mind is like a supercomputer programmed over the years by your experiences, childhood, environment, and repetitive thoughts. If your subconscious is wired for success, confidence, and abundance, you will naturally move toward those things without even trying. But if your subconscious is filled with fear, self-doubt, and limiting beliefs, no matter how hard you try to push forward, you will always feel like something invisible is pulling you back. But here's the good news. You have the power to reprogram your subconscious mind. Just as a computer's operating system can be upgraded, your mental programming can be rewritten. And when you do this, when you consciously take control of the thoughts and beliefs embedded deep within, you unlock a version of yourself that is unstoppable. This chapter is about that transformation. It's about identifying the hidden scripts controlling your life and learning how to rewrite them in a way that serves you. Because the moment you change what's running in the background of your mind, everything in your external world will begin to shift. The subconscious mind, the invisible force, running your life. To understand how powerful your subconscious mind is, let's compare it to a computer. Imagine you buy a brand new computer, but it comes with old, outdated software filled with bugs and limiting restrictions. No matter how powerful the hardware is, the computer will always run at a fraction of its potential because of the software installed on it. Your mind works the same way. From the moment you were born, your subconscious mind was programmed by everything around you. The words you heard, the experiences you had, and the beliefs you absorbed from family, school, society, and culture. If you were constantly told as a child, money is hard to come by, you're not smart enough, or love always ends in heartbreak, these beliefs didn't just disappear as you grew older. They became embedded in your subconscious, shaping your financial habits, self-worth, and relationships without you even realizing it. Now you might think, but I don't believe those things anymore. Consciously, maybe you don't. But if you find yourself constantly struggling with money, self-doubt, or unhealthy relationships, it's not because you lack willpower. It's because your subconscious mind is still operating on those old programs. The subconscious doesn't question whether a belief is good or bad, true or false. It simply accepts and runs whatever it has been programmed with. And this is why change feels difficult, because you are trying to consciously move in one direction, while your subconscious mind is still pulling you toward what it has been programmed to believe is true. The hidden beliefs running your life. If you want to know what's programmed into your subconscious mind, look at your life. Your external reality is always a reflection of your internal programming. If you have recurring patterns, struggles with money, difficulty in relationships, low self-confidence, these are not coincidences. They are symptoms of subconscious programs running beneath the surface. Let's break down some of the most common subconscious beliefs that keep people stuck. 1. The scarcity belief. There's never enough. Do you constantly feel like you're struggling financially, no matter how much you earn? Do you believe that wealth is only for lucky or special people? This belief often comes from childhood conditioning. If you grew up hearing your parents say, "Money doesn't grow on trees," or "We can't afford that," your subconscious mind absorbed the idea that wealth is scarce and difficult to obtain. As a result, even if you consciously want financial success, your subconscious will sabotage opportunities and keep you in a cycle of struggle. 2. The self-worth belief. I'm not good enough. This is one of the most damaging subconscious programs. If you were criticized a lot as a child compared to others, or made to feel like you had to earn love and approval, you might have developed a deep belief that you are not enough as you are. This belief manifests in perfectionism, people-pleasing, self-doubt, and procrastination. You might avoid taking risks, fear failure, or constantly seek validation from others, all because your subconscious is trying to protect you from the pain of rejection or inadequacy. 3. The fear of success. Success comes with sacrifice. This belief is tricky because it often hides behind fear of failure. Some people subconsciously associate success with stress, pressure, or loss of freedom. If you grew up seeing your parents work long hours and struggle to make ends meet, your subconscious might equate success with exhaustion. As a result, you might unconsciously hold yourself back from stepping into your full potential, fearing that success will cost you your happiness or personal life. These are just a few examples, but every person has subconscious programs running their life. The question is, what are yours? Step 1. Identifying your subconscious beliefs. Before you can reprogram your subconscious, you must identify the beliefs currently running your life. Here's a simple but powerful exercise. 1. Look at the areas where you struggle. What patterns keep repeating in your life? What challenges feel impossible to overcome? 2. Ask yourself, what would I have to believe for this to be true? If you always struggle with money, ask yourself, what belief is keeping me stuck? If you fear rejection, ask, what belief do I hold about myself or relationships? 3. Trace it back to the source. Where did this belief come from? Was it something you heard as a child? Something you experienced? Understanding the origin of a belief helps you recognize that it was learned, and what is learned can be unlearned. Step 2. Rewriting your mental programming. Once you identify a limiting belief, the next step is installing a new program. Here's how. 1. Flip the belief. Take the negative belief and turn it into a positive one. Money is scarce becomes money is abundant and flows to me easily. I'm not good enough becomes I am more than enough as I am. 2. Repetition and emotion. The subconscious mind learns through repetition and feeling. Write down your new belief daily, say it out loud, and visualize yourself living it. 3. Act in alignment with the new belief. Your actions must match your new programming. If you are reprogramming abundance, start treating money with respect and gratitude. If you are reprogramming confidence, start speaking and carrying yourself like someone who believes in their worth. Your first step toward reprogramming your mind. For the next 7 days, commit to identifying and rewriting one subconscious belief. Start small, stay consistent, and observe how even the smallest shifts begin to change your reality. Chapter 7. The Power of Emotional Mastery. How to stop being a slave to your feelings. Have you ever felt like your emotions are running your life? One moment you're motivated, inspired, and confident, and the next you're overwhelmed, anxious, or stuck in self-doubt. You tell yourself you'll stay positive, but then something happens. A rejection, a failure, a criticism, and suddenly your mood crashes and you spiral into frustration or self-pity. You try to focus on your goals, but a wave of self-doubt or fear creeps in and paralyzes you. Most people believe emotions are something that just happened to them. They think emotions are unpredictable forces, something they must passively endure rather than actively manage. But that's a lie. The truth is, your emotions don't control you. Your interpretation of them does. And once you learn how to master your emotions, you will unlock one of the greatest superpowers available to you. Because the quality of your emotions determines the quality of your life. Think about it. 2 people can experience the exact same event. Let's say, losing a job. One person sees it as a devastating failure and falls into despair. The other sees it as a new opportunity and becomes excited about what's next. The event is the same, but the emotional experience is completely different. Why? Because emotions are not dictated by external circumstances. They are dictated by your perception, your focus, and your habits of thought. In this chapter, we're going to break down the science and psychology of emotions, why we feel what we feel, how to break free from emotional reactivity, and how to develop emotional intelligence so that you can take back control over your inner world. By the end of this, you won't just understand your emotions, you'll know how to master them. Why we feel the way we do, the science of emotions. To truly take control of your emotions, you need to understand where they come from. Emotions are not random. They are biochemical signals created by your thoughts and perceptions. Every emotion you feel is a result of 3 things. 1. Your focus. What you pay attention to determines how you feel. If you constantly focus on your problems, you'll feel stressed. If you focus on gratitude, you'll feel happier. 2. Your meaning. The way you interpret events dictates your emotional response. If someone cancels plans, you can either think, they don't care about me, which will make you feel rejected, or they must be busy, which will make you feel neutral. 3. Your physiology. The way you move your body affects your emotions. If you slouch, breathe shallowly, and avoid eye contact, you'll feel insecure. If you stand tall, take deep breaths, and smile, you'll feel more confident. Understanding these 3 factors is crucial because it means that you are never a victim of your emotions. You are the creator of them. Breaking free from emotional reactivity. Most people react to emotions automatically. Something happens, they get triggered, and they immediately respond without thinking. This is called emotional reactivity, and it's one of the biggest things holding people back from true emotional freedom. Imagine a situation where someone cuts you off in traffic. Your automatic reaction might be to get angry, curse, and let it ruin your day. But why? The event itself is neutral. It's just another car on the road. What makes you feel angry is your interpretation of the event. Maybe you believe, that driver is disrespecting me. But what if instead you thought, maybe they're rushing to the hospital? Your emotional response would be completely different. Here's the secret. Between every stimulus and response, there is a moment where you can choose how to react. The more you learn to extend that space, the more emotional control you gain. A simple exercise to practice this. Whenever you feel an emotion rising, pause for 5 seconds before reacting. Take a deep breath and ask yourself, what am I focusing on? What meaning am I assigning to this? How can I respond in a way that serves me? By doing this, you shift from emotional reactivity to emotional mastery. You stop letting circumstances dictate your emotions and start choosing how you want to feel. The power of reframing, turning negative emotions into fuel. One of the biggest breakthroughs in emotional mastery is learning how to reframe your emotions. Every negative emotion contains a hidden lesson or power, but only if you know how to access it. Let's break down some common negative emotions and how to reframe them. 1. Anxiety. A call to action. Anxiety is often seen as a bad thing, but in reality, anxiety is just energy without direction. It's your brain saying something important needs your attention. Instead of seeing anxiety as a sign of weakness, reframe it as a signal to prepare, plan, and take action. Next time you feel anxious, ask yourself, what is this feeling trying to tell me? How can I use this energy to take control of the situation? 2. Fear. Proof that you're growing. Fear is not a stop sign, it's a green light. If you're afraid of something, it usually means you're stepping outside your comfort zone, which is exactly where growth happens. Instead of saying, I'm scared, I should stop, reframe it as, this fear means I'm expanding into something greater. 3. Anger. A catalyst for change. Anger is just passion that has lost direction. Instead of letting anger consume you, use it as motivation. Channel it into taking action, standing up for yourself, or setting stronger boundaries. The key is to stop seeing negative emotions as enemies and start using them as fuel for growth. The emotional reset formula. Sometimes, despite our best efforts, we get caught in negative emotional loops. When that happens, use this 3-step emotional reset formula to shift your emotional state instantly. 1. Change your focus. Ask yourself, what else could this mean? What's a more empowering way to look at this? 2. Change your physiology. Move your body. Stand up, stretch, take deep breaths, or go for a walk. The quickest way to shift your emotions is through movement. 3. Change your self-talk. Replace negative thoughts with empowering ones. Instead of, I can't handle this, say, I am strong enough to figure this out. This formula is simple, but it's incredibly powerful. Try it next time you feel stuck in a negative emotion, and watch how quickly your mood shifts. Your first step to emotional mastery. For the next 7 days, commit to practicing these techniques. Whenever a negative emotion arises, 1. Pause before reacting and analyze what's causing it. 2. Reframe the emotion into something useful. 3. Use the emotional reset formula to shift your state. Master this, and you will no longer be controlled by your emotions. You will control them. And that, my friend, is true freedom. Chapter 8. The Hidden Power of Your Subconscious Mind, Rewiring the Blueprint of Your Reality. Imagine for a moment that you are in a car, driving down a winding road. The engine hums, the wheels turn, and the scenery blurs by. You press the gas pedal to accelerate, but something doesn't feel quite right. You try to speed up, but the car keeps slowing down, the engine sputters, and you wonder why you can't reach the speed you want. At first, you think it's something external, a mechanical issue perhaps. But what if I told you the reason you're not going as fast as you'd like is because you're driving with the brakes on? You're not even aware that the brakes are engaged, but they're slowing you down nonetheless. This analogy mirrors the way most of us live our lives. We have goals, dreams, and ambitions, and we try to accelerate toward them, but something invisible holds us back. We set out with the best intentions, but we somehow fall back into the same old habits, the same old fears, the same old doubts. The real reason for this isn't a lack of effort or discipline, but something much deeper, more powerful, and more subtle: the subconscious mind. It's likely that you've heard the term subconscious before, but most people don't fully understand the enormous influence it has on their lives. In fact, the majority of your thoughts, actions, and habits are shaped not by your conscious will, but by the programs running quietly and automatically beneath the surface of your awareness. You might consciously try to change your life, but unless you can address the beliefs and patterns that are operating in the subconscious, you will continually find yourself driving with the brakes on. What I want you to understand in this chapter is simple, yet incredibly powerful. The subconscious mind is like the operating system of a computer, and it controls nearly every aspect of your life. While you consciously set goals, make decisions, and take actions, the subconscious mind is in the background, running on autopilot, executing millions of thoughts and behaviors that directly influence your reality. It's the part of your mind that determines your self-worth, your ability to succeed, and even your capacity for happiness. But here's the catch. Most of these programs are outdated, often programmed in early childhood, and they're running on default settings. These are not beliefs that you consciously chose to hold. Rather, they were inherited from family, society, experiences, and past trauma. If you do not actively reprogram these beliefs, they will continue to guide your life in ways you don't fully understand or control. Now think about that for a moment. Your subconscious mind holds the power to shape every part of your life: your career, your relationships, your health, your finances. And yet most of us live unaware of this vast inner force. It's like you're a puppet, with your subconscious as the strings controlling your every move. You may want to change certain aspects of your life, but unless you rewire those deep-rooted subconscious patterns, you're going to find yourself back in the same spot again and again, like someone stuck in a cycle they can't escape. This is exactly why so many people struggle with goals, with success, and with personal transformation. They put in the effort, they set the intentions, and they make the commitment to change, but they fail to recognize the subconscious beliefs they've been carrying around for years, beliefs that are constantly working against their efforts. These beliefs can be deeply ingrained ideas about who they are, what they're capable of, and what they deserve. These beliefs aren't often in alignment with their conscious desires for success or happiness. It's as if there's a disconnect between the conscious mind, which wants to achieve greatness, and the subconscious mind, which holds them back with old, limiting beliefs. The good news is that you are not stuck. Just as a skilled mechanic can reprogram a car's engine, You can reprogram your subconscious mind to work for you instead of against you. You have the ability to rewire your subconscious, to change these old patterns and beliefs, and to create new ones that serve your goals and aspirations. But before you can do that, you must first understand how the subconscious operates, how it was shaped, and how to access its hidden power. Let's start by understanding the science of the subconscious mind. The human mind operates on two primary levels: the conscious and the subconscious. The conscious mind is the small, rational part of the mind that you're aware of, where your thoughts, decisions, and reasoning take place. The conscious mind makes up only about 5% of your mental activity. This is the part of your mind that you use when you set goals, make decisions, and take action. It's where your logic, analysis, and willpower reside. On the other hand, the subconscious mind is responsible for the other 95% of your mental activity. This is where your emotions, habits, memories, and beliefs are stored. Unlike the conscious mind, which is analytical and focused on the present moment, the subconscious is more like a vast database filled with everything you've ever experienced. It doesn't think critically. It simply absorbs everything that happens and stores it as truth. It's also incredibly powerful, processing millions of bits of information every second. In fact, it's constantly shaping your reality without you even realizing it. Your subconscious mind doesn't operate on logic. It operates on emotion and repetition. Whatever you repeatedly tell yourself, whatever emotions you feel deeply, and whatever experiences you have, the subconscious accepts as truth. It doesn't differentiate between what's real and what's imagined. So if you constantly tell yourself that you're not good enough, that you can't succeed, or that you don't deserve happiness, your subconscious will accept that programming as true, and it will direct your life in ways that reinforce those beliefs. Similarly, if you've had past experiences that were painful or traumatic, your subconscious may store those memories and create subconscious patterns that keep you stuck in fear, self-doubt, or avoidance. This is where the power of rewiring comes into play. The good news is that your subconscious is not fixed. It can be reprogrammed. Just like a computer program, you can rewrite the software that runs your life. But to do that, you first need to understand the core programs that are currently running and then change them. This isn't as difficult as it may sound, but it requires intentionality, consistency, and patience. It's about replacing outdated programs, the ones that no longer serve you, with new, empowering beliefs and habits. Now, I want you to think of your life as a set of interconnected systems. Your beliefs create your thoughts influence your emotions, and your emotions determine your actions. These actions lead to results, and those results further reinforce your beliefs. It's a self-perpetuating cycle, but the beauty of it is that you can interrupt the cycle at any point. If you can change the beliefs that are driving your thoughts, emotions, and actions, you can change the entire trajectory of your life. But here's the catch. You can't do it on autopilot. You must take control of your subconscious programming. You have to actively choose what beliefs and emotions you want to install. This requires conscious effort, whether through affirmations, visualization, meditation, or other techniques. But with the right tools and a clear plan, you can begin to shift your subconscious mind toward the reality you desire. So, let's begin the process of unlocking your subconscious mind and rewiring it for success. In the next sections, we'll dive into the specifics of how to identify and change the limiting beliefs that have been holding you back. But first, let's explore the deeper power of your subconscious programming, the way it shapes your world, and how you can start taking back control. Chapter 9: Mastering the Art of Thought. How to transform your inner dialogue and create your reality. If I were to ask you right now, what is the most powerful force in your life? You might think about wealth, relationships, or success. However, there's a hidden, invisible force that is shaping your life in ways you can't even begin to fathom. Your thoughts. Your thoughts, believe it or not, are the invisible architects of your reality. They are the blueprint for everything that you experience, and understanding this can radically change the way you view yourself and your world. It's easy to dismiss the power of thoughts because they seem so fleeting, so insubstantial. We think to ourselves, they're just thoughts. They don't have that much power. But what if I told you that everything you experience in your life, from your relationships to your success, your health, and even your happiness, is a direct reflection of the thoughts you constantly repeat in your mind? This isn't just motivational fluff. It's a scientifically proven fact. Thoughts are not just abstract, passing ideas that come and go. They are vibrations in your brain, frequencies that are constantly being emitted. These frequencies don't just remain within your mind. They interact with the universe around you. To understand why your thoughts are so powerful, we need to start with the brain. Your brain is a highly sophisticated organ, capable of processing billions of pieces of information every second. But more importantly, it operates through a system of neural pathways, which are like highways in your brain that carry electrical impulses. These neural pathways are strengthened the more they're used. When you think a thought, it sends a signal down a pathway. If you think the same thought repeatedly, that pathway gets stronger. Over time, these pathways become automatic, like deeply ingrained habits. The more you think a certain thought, the more easily your brain can access that thought, and the more likely you are to continue thinking it. This is why your thought patterns become your reality. The more you think a certain thought, whether it's one of fear, joy, self-doubt, or empowerment, your brain becomes wired to think those thoughts more easily. And as your brain strengthens those pathways, it becomes easier to manifest the thoughts you think most often in the real world. This is the mechanism through which thoughts influence your reality. However, this process can work both ways. If your predominant thoughts are filled with self-doubt, fear, or limiting beliefs, your brain will wire itself to attract situations that align with those thoughts. You'll find yourself in circumstances that reinforce the belief that you are not good enough, that success is for others, but not for you, or that happiness is elusive. In short, the thoughts you consistently entertain create an invisible force that draws situations, people, and opportunities that match the energy of those thoughts. On the other hand, if your thoughts are filled with positivity, self-love, abundance, and empowerment, your brain will begin to wire itself to draw in experiences that align with those energies. You will start to notice opportunities that were once invisible to you. You'll become more attuned to the positive, the expansive, and the prosperous aspects of life. Your world will begin to change, but it all starts with the thoughts you're thinking on a daily basis. So, why don't more people experience the life-changing results of this powerful truth? The answer lies in something called the law of mental conditioning. Most people's thoughts are conditioned by external circumstances, what they see on the news, what they hear from friends, what their past experiences have taught them. These external influences condition your mind to respond in a certain way. In other words, your thoughts are often shaped by the world around you, rather than being directed by your own desires and intentions. If you've grown up in an environment where scarcity and fear were prevalent, it's likely that your subconscious mind has been conditioned to think along those lines. The key to transforming your reality is to break free from this external conditioning and learn how to consciously shape your thoughts. Changing your thoughts is not something that happens overnight. In fact, it requires consistent effort, awareness, and intention. But with practice, you can reprogram your mind, much like a computer program, and begin to think in ways that support your goals and desires. The question is, how do you start? How do you consciously take control of your thoughts and direct them toward the outcomes you want? The first step in mastering the art of thought is to become aware of the thoughts you are thinking. This may sound simple, but for many it's the hardest part. We are so conditioned to think automatically that we rarely stop to examine the thoughts we're having. We accept them as truths without questioning whether they're serving us. This awareness is critical because you can't change what you don't acknowledge. Take a moment right now and ask yourself, what are the recurring thoughts that run through your mind? What do you think about when you wake up in the morning? What runs through your mind when you face challenges or when you look at your bank account, your relationships, or your body? Are these thoughts empowering you, or are they limiting you? Are they pushing you forward toward your dreams, or are they pulling you back into old patterns? By developing this awareness, you're taking the first step toward transforming your life. As you start to become aware of your thoughts, it's time to implement the next step in mastering them, choosing to change the ones that no longer serve you. This process is called thought reframing, and it's one of the most powerful tools you can use to rewire your mind. Thought reframing involves actively challenging and changing negative or limiting thoughts into positive, empowering beliefs that serve your highest good. For example, let's say you catch yourself thinking, "I'm terrible with money." Instead of letting that thought continue to run on autopilot, you interrupt it by reframing it to something like, "I am becoming more financially intelligent every day," or "I am attracting abundance and opportunities to grow financially." The key here is not just to replace the negative thought with a positive one, but to also feel the emotion behind the new thought. Your subconscious mind doesn't respond to mere words. It responds to the emotions that accompany those words. By infusing your positive thought with real emotion, you'll begin to rewire the neural pathways that have been conditioned by old, limiting beliefs. Another important aspect of mastering your thoughts is to develop a consistent practice of mindfulness. Mindfulness involves being fully present in the moment, observing your thoughts without judgment, and accepting them without letting them control you. When you practice mindfulness, you gain the ability to step back from your thoughts and see them for what they are, just thoughts. You begin to realize that you are not your thoughts. You are the observer of them. This realization gives you the power to choose which thoughts you want to engage with and which ones you want to let go of. With consistent practice, mindfulness will become second nature. You'll find yourself more and more able to redirect your thoughts at will, to shift your mental state, and to choose the thoughts that will create the life you desire. This is the true mastery of thought, not being controlled by your thoughts, but taking full control of them. Chapter 10. The Power of Intention. How to direct your energy toward what you truly desire. The world we live in is far more interconnected and expansive than we often realize. From the smallest particle in the universe to the most complex human thoughts, everything is in a state of constant motion, vibrational energy swirling around us. It's an awe-inspiring realization to think that at the deepest level, we are not merely passive observers of life. We are active participants, creating, shaping, and directing the energy that flows around us. One of the most transformative ways to harness this universal energy and align it with your deepest desires is through the power of intention. It's easy to think of intention as simply a conscious wish or a fleeting thought about what we'd like to achieve. But in reality, intention is far more than that. It's a focused energy, a deliberate and powerful force that directs your thoughts, actions, and the very essence of who you are toward the creation of your desired outcomes. Before we dive deeper into the practical aspects of setting intentions, it's important to understand that intention is not just about making a wish or setting a goal. It's about becoming consciously aware of the energy you're putting out into the world and how you can shape that energy to align with your highest aspirations. The energy you put out will ultimately determine the energy you attract back into your life. Think of it like a magnet. When your intentions are clear and focused, you draw toward you circumstances, opportunities, and people that resonate with the frequency you're emitting. What you might not realize is that your mind is an incredibly powerful instrument in this process. Whether you're aware of it or not, you're already creating intentions all the time. Every time you think a thought, say a word, or take an action, You are, in a sense, setting an intention. This process is happening constantly, but much of it is unconscious. Most of us are unaware of how our unconscious beliefs and emotions are shaping the world around us. If you want to create real change in your life, it's vital to take this process from unconscious to conscious. You need to bring awareness and intention to the thoughts, feelings, and actions you are sending out. Only then can you direct that energy with purpose and precision. The first step in harnessing the power of intention is to recognize that intention is not simply a mental exercise. It's not enough to merely think about what you want or say to yourself, "I intend to be successful," and then move on with your day. True intention is a deeply felt experience that requires a shift in both your inner and outer world. To truly direct your energy, you need to be emotionally and vibrationally aligned with your desire. This means that your thoughts, feelings, and actions must all be in harmony with your intention. Think of it like planting a seed in fertile soil. When you plant a seed, you provide it with the proper environment, sunlight, water, and nutrients, and then you allow it the space to grow. However, if you were to plant that same seed in barren soil without proper care, it would struggle to thrive. This is how your intentions work. They need the right environment of clarity, focus, and belief to grow and manifest. The energy you emit is the soil in which your intentions will either flourish or wither. One of the key factors in setting powerful, effective intentions is clarity. When you're unclear about what you want, or when you have conflicting desires, the energy you send out becomes muddled and inconsistent. For instance, if you say you want to be financially successful, but you also have underlying fears about money, your energy will be split. Part of your energy is focused on attracting abundance, while another part is pushing it away because of fear or limiting beliefs. This creates a conflicting vibrational signal that makes it much harder to manifest your desires. To make your intentions effective, you need to be crystal clear about what you want. Clarity is essential because the universe, and your subconscious mind, responds to clear and focused energy. If you are uncertain, your intentions will lack direction, and as a result, you might find yourself spinning your wheels, feeling like you're putting in the effort, but not getting the results. Take a moment to truly reflect on what you desire. Write it down. Be specific. Don't leave room for ambiguity. Ask yourself, what do I really want? What would make my heart sing? What is my truest desire? It's also important to understand that intention is not about forceful effort or trying harder to make something happen. We often associate intention with a sense of urgency or pushing ourselves toward a goal, but this is a misunderstanding of how intention works. Intention is about being in alignment with your desires. It's about being in a state of allowance, where you are open to receiving what you have set out to attract. It's not about forcing outcomes. It's about creating the right conditions for those outcomes to naturally flow into your life. In fact, when we push too hard or force things into being, we often create resistance. Resistance is a powerful blocker of manifestation because it sends the energy of frustration, doubt, and lack. Instead, when you set an intention, trust in the process, and believe that what you desire is already on its way, you begin to remove the resistance and create a flow. Here's a simple way to think about this. When you set an intention, think of it like sending out an invitation to the universe or to the part of your subconscious mind that governs reality creation. You are not begging or pleading. Rather, you are making a clear request and then letting go of the outcome. This letting go part is critical because it allows the energy to circulate freely and abundantly. It allows room for the universe to work in your favor, bringing the right opportunities, people, and experiences into your life. The act of intention is the sending of that invitation, and the universe responds by arranging the conditions that will allow your desire to manifest. But how do we know if our intentions are truly in alignment with what we want? This brings us to the next part of intention setting: emotional alignment. When you set an intention, ask yourself, how do I feel about this desire? Do you feel excited and hopeful? Or do you feel doubts creeping in? Your emotions are a powerful indicator of whether your intentions are aligned with your true desires. For example, if you set the intention to increase your income, but deep down, you feel unworthy or anxious about money, your intention is not fully aligned with your inner self. The emotion of unworthiness will conflict with the positive energy of abundance. This is why emotional alignment is so important. When you feel positive emotions about your intention, whether it's excitement, joy, or gratitude, you are sending a powerful signal to your subconscious mind and the universe that you are open, willing, and ready to receive your desires. The more you align your emotions with your intentions, the more powerful those intentions become. This alignment creates a vibrational resonance that amplifies your energy and sends it out into the world with greater force. The clearer, more focused, and emotionally aligned your intention is, the faster it will manifest into reality. Chapter 11: The Mechanics of Manifestation: How to Shape Your Destiny with Intent and Action. Every great achievement begins with a single thought. It may sound simplistic, but if you take a moment to reflect on your life, you will realize that every experience, every encounter, and every piece of success or failure is rooted in something as intangible as a thought. Your mind is not simply a tool that processes information. It is a creative force that has the potential to shape your entire reality. Think about it. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you were struck by a sudden realization or insight? Perhaps it was a moment where a new thought suddenly shifted your perspective on something important. It might have been a moment of inspiration, an idea that sparked a change in how you approach life. That moment of clarity may have been the catalyst for an entirely new direction in your life. But what truly happened in that moment? Your thoughts, the invisible, fleeting ideas that pass through your mind, manifested into something real and tangible. The power to create your reality starts with the recognition that thoughts are not just passive events in your mind. They are the building blocks of your future. Now let's take a moment to explore the connection between thoughts and manifestation. Many of us have heard about the concept of manifestation, the idea that you can think or visualize something into existence. But it's often oversimplified and misunderstood. Manifestation isn't just about positive thinking or wishing for a better life. It's about understanding the law of attraction and the energetic dynamics at play when your thoughts interact with the universe. Thoughts are not just fleeting images that pass through your mind. They are electromagnetic signals that emit energy. They are the first step in the manifestation process. In essence, everything in our physical world is made up of energy. At a quantum level, even solid objects are made up of vibrating particles that are constantly in motion. If everything is energy, then it stands to reason that the energy you send out through your thoughts will interact with the energy around you. What's even more fascinating is that your thoughts don't just affect the external world, they also impact your inner world, your emotional state, your self-perception, and your physical well-being. It's easy to overlook how powerful our thoughts are because they seem so transient, so fleeting. However, the more you pay attention, the more you'll see how the quality of your thoughts directly influences your experience. If you are constantly thinking thoughts of fear, doubt, or insecurity, your energy field will become filled with low-frequency vibrations. This energy will attract similar low-frequency situations, relationships, and experiences into your life. Conversely, if your thoughts are filled with positive energy, love, hope, and confidence, your energy field will emit higher frequency vibrations, pulling in more positive experiences. The law of attraction tells us that like attracts like, so your thoughts are constantly shaping your reality in ways you might not even be aware of. The good news is that you have the power to take control of your thoughts. You are not a passive recipient of the random ideas and emotions that enter your mind. With practice and awareness, you can consciously choose the thoughts that align with your highest desires and begin to manifest them into reality. But how does this process work, and how can you use it effectively to create the life you desire? The first step is to recognize that thoughts are not neutral. Every thought you think carries an energy frequency. Think of your thoughts as little radio signals being broadcast into the universe. These signals will attract experiences that match their frequency. If you think thoughts of lack, your signal will attract situations where you feel deprived or unsupported. But if you consistently think thoughts of abundance and possibility, your signal will attract opportunities that align with those thoughts. At this point, you might be wondering, if my thoughts shape my reality, then why don't I just think positive thoughts all the time? It's a valid question. In theory, if all you had to do was think positively to manifest your desires, life would be much simpler. However, there's more to it than just thinking positive thoughts. While positivity is important, it's also essential to recognize the deeper layers of your belief system that influence your thinking. Your beliefs are deeply embedded in your subconscious mind. These are the beliefs that you formed from a young age, often as a result of your experiences, upbringing, and cultural influences. These subconscious beliefs can either support or block the manifestation of your desires. For example, if you believe that you're not worthy of success or that money is hard to come by, no amount of positive thinking will override these deeply ingrained beliefs. This is why it's essential to not only think positive thoughts, but also to work on shifting limiting beliefs at the subconscious level. To begin reprogramming your beliefs, you need to start by becoming aware of the thoughts and beliefs that are running in the background of your mind. These are often the thoughts that you don't actively pay attention to. They're the silent beliefs that quietly dictate how you feel about yourself, the world, and what you can achieve. Start by paying attention to the patterns of thought that arise when you think about your goals. Do you feel excitement and motivation? Or do you feel resistance, fear, or doubt? For example, let's say you have a goal to improve your financial situation. If your mind constantly brings up thoughts like, "I'll never have enough money," or "I'm just not good with finances," then these limiting beliefs are blocking your ability to manifest abundance. This is because your subconscious mind is programmed with the belief that financial struggle is your reality. In this case, you would need to interrupt these limiting beliefs and replace them with new beliefs that align with abundance and financial freedom. A powerful tool to help shift limiting beliefs is affirmations. Affirmations are positive statements that you repeat to yourself regularly to reprogram your subconscious mind. For example, if you want to manifest financial abundance, you might use affirmations like, "I am worthy of wealth," "Money flows to me easily and effortlessly," or "I am financially abundant." When you say these affirmations, it's important to feel the emotions behind the words. The more you can connect with the emotions of abundance, the more powerful the affirmation becomes. Alongside affirmations, visualization is another powerful tool for manifestation. Visualization is the process of vividly imagining your desired outcome as if it has already happened. When you visualize, you're tapping into the emotional and energetic power of your imagination, which sends out a clear signal to the universe about what you want to create. The more vivid and emotionally charged your visualization is, the more likely it is that your desire will manifest. By combining positive thoughts, affirmations, and visualization, you are aligning your inner world with your desires. However, it's important to remember that thoughts alone won't manifest your desires. Action is a crucial component of the manifestation process. The universe responds to your energetic vibrations, but it also responds to the steps you take toward your goals. Chapter 12. Unleashing Your Full Potential. The Art of Personal Growth and Empowerment. Personal growth is often thought of as a linear progression. you set a goal, you achieve it, and then you move on to the next. In reality, personal growth is far more nuanced. It's not a race or a checklist of achievements, but rather an ongoing journey that unfolds over time. There is no final destination where everything suddenly falls into place. Instead, it's a continual process of discovering more about yourself, your capabilities, and the world around you. Personal growth is about expansion, transformation, and the ability to tap into the best version of yourself, the version of you that is always evolving and becoming something greater. If you've ever felt that nagging sense that you are capable of more, that there is untapped potential within you, then you're not alone. It's a feeling that many people experience at some point in their lives, yet they often don't know how to fully harness that energy. The good news is that you already have everything you need within you to unlock your true potential. What you may lack is a deeper understanding of how to activate this inner power. This chapter is about learning to connect with that power, understanding how to use it to propel yourself forward, and embracing the ongoing process of becoming who you were always meant to be. At the core of personal growth lies self-discovery. To grow and evolve, you first need to understand yourself. What are your strengths, weaknesses, and values? What makes you feel truly alive and passionate? These are the questions that will guide you on your path to personal growth. It's important to recognize that self-discovery is not a one-time event. It's a continual process that evolves over your lifetime. The more you know about yourself, the better equipped you are to make empowered decisions that align with your deepest desires and aspirations. However, self-discovery doesn't always come easily. Society often conditions us to look outside ourselves for validation or to compare our progress to others. This can lead to feelings of inadequacy or the belief that you're not living up to your potential. The truth is that there is no one-size-fits-all when it comes to personal growth. What works for one person may not be the right path for you, and that's okay. The key is to tune in to your own inner wisdom and listen to what feels right for you. This requires cultivating self-awareness, which is the ability to observe your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors without judgment. Self-awareness is essential for growth because it allows you to see where you might be holding yourself back. It gives you the clarity to recognize patterns in your life that no longer serve you. Are there beliefs or habits that are limiting your growth? Are there past experiences that have shaped your self-image in ways that no longer reflect who you are today? These are important questions to ask yourself as you embark on your personal growth journey. But self-awareness isn't always easy to come by. In a world that is constantly demanding our attention, it can be challenging to carve out space for introspection. Yet, if you want to truly know yourself and begin the work of self-improvement, this is a crucial first step. Start by creating moments of stillness in your life. It could be as simple as sitting quietly for a few minutes each day or journaling your thoughts. This allows you to slow down and connect with your inner self, rather than being swept up in the noise of the outside world. As you become more aware of your thoughts and emotions, you'll start to notice areas where growth is possible. Perhaps you realize that you've been holding on to limiting beliefs about your worth or your ability to succeed. Maybe you notice patterns in your relationships that are unhealthy or unfulfilling. These realizations can be uncomfortable at first, but they are incredibly powerful. Awareness is the first step toward change. Once you see where you need to grow, you can begin taking intentional steps toward transformation. This process of self-discovery and self-awareness is the foundation for unlocking your true potential. But knowing yourself is only part of the equation. The next step is empowerment, the ability to take what you've learned about yourself and use it to create lasting change in your life. Empowerment comes from recognizing that you are the author of your own story. You are not a passive participant in your life. You are the one who gets to decide how your story unfolds. Empowerment begins with the understanding that you have the power to choose. Every thought, every action, and every decision you make has the potential to move you closer to or further away from your goals. The key is to make conscious choices that align with your values, desires, and purpose. When you empower yourself in this way, you stop waiting for external circumstances to change. Instead, you take responsibility for your own growth and begin actively creating the life you want to live. It's also important to recognize that empowerment does not mean doing everything on your own. While you have the power to make choices and take action, personal growth often requires support from others. This could come in the form of mentors, coaches, friends, or even online communities. There is strength in vulnerability, and allowing yourself to be supported by others is a crucial part of the empowerment process. Seeking guidance and surrounding yourself with positive, like-minded people can provide the encouragement and perspective you need to keep moving forward. As you continue on your journey of personal growth, you'll encounter obstacles and challenges. This is inevitable. Growth is rarely a smooth and easy process. However, these challenges are not roadblocks. They are opportunities for growth. Every obstacle you face is a chance to learn something new about yourself and develop the resilience you need to keep going. It's through overcoming challenges that you build strength, wisdom, and confidence. Instead of fearing challenges, embrace them as part of the natural process of growth. One of the most empowering things you can do in your life is to embrace the growth mindset. This is the belief that you can always learn and improve, regardless of your current circumstances. People with a growth mindset see challenges as opportunities to grow, while those with a fixed mindset may view challenges as threats or insurmountable obstacles. When you adopt a growth mindset, you open yourself up to the possibility of limitless potential. There is no finish line to personal development. It is a lifelong journey, and with each step, you have the opportunity to grow into the fullest version of yourself. Along with a growth mindset, it's important to cultivate self-compassion. Personal growth is not about being perfect. It's about being willing to learn from your mistakes and forgive yourself when you fall short. The journey of self-improvement is filled with setbacks, and it's easy to get discouraged. However, self-compassion allows you to treat yourself with kindness and understanding when things don't go as planned. Instead of beating yourself up, you can use those moments as opportunities to re-evaluate and adjust your course. As you step into your own empowerment, remember that personal growth is not a destination. It's an ongoing process of becoming more of who you are meant to be. It's about embracing change, learning from your experiences, and continually striving to reach new heights. It's also about learning to appreciate the journey itself, rather than focusing solely on the end result. Each step you take is a victory in and of itself, and the process of growth is as important as the outcomes you achieve. Chapter 13. The Power of Consistency. Turning small actions into big results. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to effortlessly achieve their goals, while others struggle to make any meaningful progress, despite working harder or longer hours? The answer is often simpler than we realize. Consistency. Consistency is the quiet force behind nearly every success story, and it's one of the most overlooked yet powerful tools for personal and professional growth. It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of big goals and dreams, but what truly makes the difference is the ability to show up every day, even when motivation wanes or when challenges arise. It's the compound effect of small, steady actions that eventually leads to transformative results. Imagine a seed planted in the ground. At first, it seems insignificant, just a tiny speck buried beneath the soil. You water it, nurture it, and wait patiently. Days turn into weeks and weeks into months. At first, you see no visible growth, but gradually, a small sprout begins to emerge from the earth. Over time, the plant grows stronger, taller, and more resilient. Eventually, it becomes a flourishing tree, its roots deeply embedded in the earth and its branches reaching towards the sky. This is the power of consistency. the ability to show up, take small actions, and trust the process, even when immediate results are not visible. This analogy applies directly to your goals and aspirations. Whether you're working to improve your health, achieve career success, build better relationships, or develop a new skill, consistency is the key that unlocks lasting change. The journey to success is not about grand gestures or overnight transformations. It's about committing to the process, no matter how long it takes, and recognizing that small actions, done consistently over time, compound into significant results. The myth of overnight success. In a world filled with stories of overnight success, it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that significant achievements should happen quickly and effortlessly. We see people who seemingly rise to the top in record time, their accomplishments celebrated on social media or in the news. These stories often lead to unrealistic expectations, making us believe that if we don't see rapid progress in our own lives, we are somehow falling behind. But here's the truth. Overnight success is an illusion. What we don't see behind those stories of sudden fame or fortune is the years of hard work, setbacks, and consistent effort that laid the foundation for that success. Whether it's a business mogul, an athlete, or an artist, the reality is that they all got to where they are today by taking small, consistent actions over time. Actions that, when compounded, created exponential growth and success. This myth of overnight success can be discouraging if you're not seeing immediate results. It's natural to question whether your efforts are worth it, especially when the progress seems slow. However, the truth is that the magic happens in the mundane. The small everyday actions you take are the building blocks that will eventually lead you to your desired destination. Whether it's writing a page of a book every day, exercising for 30 minutes daily, or setting aside time each week to learn a new skill, each of these actions, when done consistently, will eventually add up to something much greater than the sum of its parts. The compound effect. Small efforts, big results. The concept of the compound effect, first introduced by Darren Hardy in his book, The Compound Effect, illustrates how small actions, repeated over time, can have an enormous impact. Just like the tiny droplets of water that gradually fill a cup, the small, seemingly insignificant efforts you make every day can lead to transformative results. The key is to recognize that success is not about one massive action or breakthrough moment. It's about showing up consistently, day after day, and doing the things that matter most. Let's take a closer look at how the compound effect works. Imagine you commit to making a small improvement every day. For example, you decide to read for just 10 minutes every day. At first, it seems like a tiny effort. After a week, you've only read 70 minutes, barely enough to finish a chapter of a book. But over the course of a month, you've read over 400 minutes. By the end of the year, that small daily commitment to reading will result in nearly 5 hours of reading time and, potentially, the completion of multiple books. That's the power of consistent effort. But it's not just about reading. The compound effect works across every area of your life. Whether you're saving money, working on a personal project, or building a new habit, the principle is the same. Small, consistent actions, no matter how insignificant they may seem in the moment, will accumulate over time and lead to significant changes. In fact, the difference between those who achieve their goals and those who don't is often just the ability to stick with it when things get difficult, or when the progress isn't immediately visible. The power of habit. Why small actions matter. Habits are the backbone of consistency. In fact, the most successful people are often those who have developed powerful positive habits that support their long-term goals. Habits are the key to maintaining momentum, especially when motivation begins to fade. Motivation can be fleeting. It comes and goes based on your mood, circumstances, and energy levels. But habits, once established, become automatic. They no longer require significant effort or willpower to maintain. This is why successful individuals don't rely on motivation to get things done. They rely on the power of their habits. Habits work because they create a structure for consistency. When you create a habit, you essentially design a system for success that you don't have to think about. Whether it's waking up at the same time each day, eating healthy meals, exercising regularly, or setting aside time for personal development, these habits provide the framework that supports your growth. The best part is that once a habit is established, it doesn't require constant effort or decision-making. It simply becomes a part of your routine. One of the keys to building successful habits is to start small. It's easy to get excited about big changes, but when you try to take on too much at once, it can feel overwhelming and you risk burning out. Instead, start with small, manageable actions that you can easily integrate into your daily life. For example, if your goal is to improve your fitness, don't aim to work out for an hour every day right away. Start by committing to just 10 minutes of exercise a day. As you build this habit, you can gradually increase the time and intensity. Over time, this small action will lead to significant improvements in your health and fitness. Overcoming obstacles to consistency. While consistency is powerful, it's not always easy. Life is unpredictable, and there will inevitably be times when things don't go according to plan. Whether it's a busy work schedule, a personal setback, or a change in your routine, obstacles are bound to arise. The key to overcoming these challenges is to remain flexible and adaptable. When you encounter setbacks, it's important to stay focused on the long-term goal rather than getting discouraged by short-term obstacles. The process of growth is not linear, and there will be ups and downs along the way. Instead of seeing a missed day or a failed attempt as a failure, view it as a learning opportunity. Use it to adjust your approach and find a solution that will allow you to stay consistent moving forward. Another powerful strategy for overcoming obstacles is to track your progress. Seeing how far you've come, even if the progress feels small, can be incredibly motivating. Tracking your actions allows you to celebrate your wins, no matter how minor, and helps you stay accountable. It also gives you a sense of achievement and momentum, which can propel you forward during challenging times. Chapter 14. The Power of Mindset, Transforming Challenges into Opportunities. In life, there's an invisible force that influences how we experience the world and respond to the challenges we face. This force is our mindset, the lens through which we view everything. It determines how we interpret events, how we react to setbacks, and most importantly, how we approach personal growth and success. And while it might not always be easy to recognize, the power of mindset is undeniable. It has the capacity to shape our reality and either propel us forward or hold us back. So, what does it mean to have a positive, growth-oriented mindset, and how can you develop it? How do we transform challenges into opportunities for growth and setbacks into stepping stones towards success? The mind is an incredibly powerful tool. It can be your greatest ally in achieving your dreams or your biggest obstacle in the pursuit of success. The key lies in how you use it. Some people seem to effortlessly navigate life's challenges, remaining calm and focused in the face of adversity, while others struggle to cope with the smallest setbacks. What makes the difference? More often than not, it's the mindset that governs their behavior and reactions. The good news is that mindset isn't fixed. It can be cultivated and reshaped. If you feel stuck, frustrated, or defeated, know that you have the power to change your mindset, and in doing so, change your life. At its core, mindset is the way you perceive and interpret the world around you. It influences every decision you make, how you approach problems, how you interact with others, and even how you view yourself. Mindset shapes your beliefs, expectations, and perceptions, which ultimately create the experiences you have in your life. Your mindset is the starting point for every goal, every ambition, and every challenge you face. When you develop the right mindset, You start to see opportunities where others see obstacles. You view challenges as chances for growth rather than threats to your well-being. You begin to see failure as a temporary setback, not a reflection of your abilities or worth. The two types of mindsets: fixed versus growth. To understand the power of mindset, it's important to first distinguish between two primary types of mindsets: the fixed mindset and the growth mindset. These concepts were first popularized by psychologist Carol Dweck in her book, Mindset: The New Psychology of Success. Dweck's research revealed that our mindset plays a pivotal role in how we approach challenges, learn new skills, and overcome obstacles. A fixed mindset is one where individuals believe that their abilities, intelligence, and talents are fixed traits that cannot be significantly changed. People with a fixed mindset often see effort as pointless because they believe that their abilities are predetermined and limited. This leads them to avoid challenges, give up easily, and feel threatened by the success of others. They are more likely to view failure as a reflection of their own inadequacies, and thus, they may avoid taking risks or trying new things. Essentially, individuals with a fixed mindset believe that their current level of skill and intelligence is all they will ever have. In contrast, a growth mindset is the belief that abilities and intelligence can be developed over time through dedication, effort, and learning. People with a growth mindset see challenges as opportunities to grow and develop new skills. They believe that failure is not a permanent condition, but a part of the learning process, a chance to improve. When faced with difficulties, individuals with a growth mindset are more likely to persist, adapt, and keep trying. They understand that effort is necessary for growth, and they embrace the idea that the more they practice and learn, the better they will become. So, why does this matter? The answer lies in how these mindsets affect our actions. People with a fixed mindset are often afraid of failure, which can hold them back from pursuing new goals or taking risks. On the other hand, those with a growth mindset embrace challenges because they see them as opportunities to learn and improve. This mindset shift is often the key to unlocking greater success, fulfillment, and personal growth. If you've ever found yourself thinking, "I'm just not good at this," or "I'll never be able to do this," chances are you've been operating from a fixed mindset. But here's the good news. You have the ability to shift to a growth mindset, and doing so can completely transform how you approach every aspect of your life, from your career to your relationships, health, and personal development. How mindset shapes our reactions to challenges. Our mindset doesn't just affect our motivation or approach to learning. It also determines how we react to challenges. Life is filled with setbacks, obstacles, and failures. It's inevitable. But the way we react to these challenges is often a reflection of our mindset. Someone with a growth mindset will see failure as a temporary setback, something to learn from, and a stepping stone toward improvement. They'll look at the situation and ask, "What can I learn from this? How can I grow from this experience?" In contrast, someone with a fixed mindset may view failure as a reflection of their abilities and may feel discouraged or defeated. They might think, "I failed because I'm not good enough," or "This is proof that I'm not cut out for this." These negative thoughts can create a cycle of self-doubt, fear, and avoidance of future challenges. But when you shift to a growth mindset, you start to see failure as an opportunity to improve, rather than as a reflection of your limitations. Think about a time in your life when you encountered a challenge or failure. How did you respond? Did you give up, or did you keep going? If you struggled, it doesn't mean you're incapable of shifting your mindset. It just means that you were in the midst of operating from a fixed mindset. The good news is that your mindset can change at any time. By embracing a growth mindset, you can learn to view challenges as opportunities for growth and start developing the resilience necessary to overcome even the toughest obstacles. Reframing. negative thoughts, turning setbacks into opportunities. A key aspect of developing a growth mindset is reframing negative thoughts. Reframing involves changing the way you interpret a situation so that you can view it from a more positive or constructive angle. Instead of focusing on what went wrong, reframing helps you see what you can learn from the experience and how you can apply that lesson moving forward. For example, let's say you failed an important exam. With a fixed mindset, you might think, "I'm just not smart enough," or "I'll never be able to pass this." But with a growth mindset, you would reframe the situation by asking yourself questions like, "What can I learn from this experience? What do I need to do differently next time to improve?" By reframing the situation in this way, you take ownership of the problem and empower yourself to take action to improve. Reframing is not about ignoring the reality of a setback. It's about shifting your focus from what you can't control to what you can do to improve. This simple shift in perspective can make all the difference in your ability to stay motivated, keep going, and ultimately achieve success. Practical steps for developing a growth mindset. Developing a growth mindset doesn't happen overnight. It's a practice that requires time, patience, and consistency. But the good news is that you can start right now by incorporating some simple strategies into your daily life. Here are a few practical steps to help you begin the process of shifting your mindset. 1. Recognize fixed mindset. Thoughts. Start by becoming aware of moments when you fall into a fixed mindset. Do you find yourself thinking negatively when you fail or face a challenge? When you catch yourself thinking, "I can't do this," pause and reframe it. Ask yourself, "How can I learn from this? What's one small step I can take to improve?" 2. Embrace challenges. People with a growth mindset see challenges as opportunities, not obstacles. The next time you're faced with something difficult, embrace it instead of avoiding it. Challenge yourself to try something new or push yourself outside of your comfort zone. 3. Celebrate effort, not just results. Focus on the effort you put into a task, not just the outcome. Acknowledge your progress, no matter how small. This reinforces the idea that effort is valuable and leads to growth. 4. Practice self-compassion. Be kind to yourself when things don't go as planned. Remind yourself that setbacks are part of the process. Treat yourself with the same compassion you would offer a friend who is struggling. 5. Seek feedback and learn from others. Instead of seeing feedback as criticism, view it as an opportunity for growth. Seek out mentors or peers who can offer constructive feedback and use it to improve.